nothing there. We came through the front gate and walked up and saw a vacant field. There was nothing there. There were no grandstands there. There were no lights there. There was no PA system there. But there was this rickety press box waving in the breeze up there, and Al says, "Don't you just love it? That's where you're going to be working. Let's climb up and look the place over." So I climbed up into the press box, and we stood up there in the gale force winds, and I said, "God almighty, this thing's going to fall down." He says, "No, don't worry. It's not OSHA-proof, but it won't fall down. We don't think it will, because it used to be on the infield. We took it over here and buried it where it's supposed to be, and it's at least that deep in the ground, so don't worry about a thing." And he gave me this cock and bull story. He says, kind of like the Field of Dreams. You know, if I build it, will they come? And I said, "I don't know. What's it going to look like?" He says, "Picture this. There's going to be pavement out there. There's going to be brand new grandstands. There's going to be brand new lights. We're going to have a brand new PA system. We're going to improve the pits for the drivers, and I'm going to try to coach some guys that are coming over here and racing." And I said, "That's an impossible dream. That ain't going to happen." He said, "It will." Well, just a few months later, he says, "We're ready to open." And I was really surprised when I came out here the first time after this track had been paved, because it kind of took a new life. It looked like something being reborn, and it's great for a person like me, as old as I am, being on something that's starting up rather than something that's dying down, which is usually the case when you get our age. But Al Blums has put this thing together mostly with his own money. He paved the place, he brought in the bleachers. The bleachers are just fantastic. I understand there will be several hundred more seats added for next season. He brought in the lights. We're going to improve the lights even more next year. The infield will no longer be dirt and mud. The seating will start next week, and we'll have a solid infield out there. We're working on a fancy scoreboard for you. And the reason he's been able to do this because all of you folks have come over here to race on Saturday nights, and you local folks have come out into the grandstands to watch these guys race. And it hasn't been that easy because almost everybody in this room has had to tow to this speedway, including all of us that work here. Not that many people who race at this speedway live in Blythe, California. The ones that do, bless your hearts, and we need more people from Blythe because they're the nicest people I've ever met in my life. But all you people tow in. That's right. Give a hand to Blythe, California, because this is one whale of a great little town, let me tell you. I have never met friendlier people in my life, and it's an honor to come over here on Saturday nights and have as much fun as we do. But you people tow in. You come from San Diego, you come from LA area, you come from other parts of California, you come from Phoenix, Arizona, you come from Las Vegas, Nevada. So every one of you people has towed a great distance, and there must be a reason that you're doing this, and it ain't the money, I don't think, is it? Or are they paying more than I think they are? I think the reason is the guy that built this place and put it together is trying to do something that most of us wish all the speedways we did in the past has done before, and that's kind of treat everybody equally. That's all we ask as racers and as car owners and as mechanics and as race fans is treat everybody equal. That's all we want. Well, he's doing his best. Thank God you're not with me in the announcer's booth on Saturday nights because he's behind me and you will go crazy, really, because sometimes he goes a little overboard. He knows he does, but he does it in trying to be as fair as he can. Without further ado, let me introduce to you the president of Pacific Racing Promotions, the guy that put this racetrack together, your promoter, and our super good friend, Mr. Al Blums. Al?
Thank you very much. Was the dinner okay? Now, I won't be long. I'll do this about like to conduct a pit meeting. I even have my little yellow sheet that everybody's so familiar with. Now, I don't recognize most of you folks because you dress nicely and you're clean. This is something new. Thank you. A lot of thank yous to give for this first season, so I'll just go through it real quick. First, I want to thank my parents. My mom worked at the box office, made sure there wasn't stealing going on in the front gate money. My dad worked in the beer stand, accomplished the same thing. My wife, Bridget, did just about everything around here, from run the pit office to run everything else she could think of, other than the actual racing program itself. Did a wonderful job, and putting up with me is probably the best thing that she did. So if everybody could give Bridget a hand, I should appreciate it. She did. up, Bridget. And she also gave me the courage to go through with this when it was looking like it wasn't going to happen, and I said, oh, to heck with this, building a racetrack in the desert is a stupid idea. And she convinced me it wasn't. Also, my two kids who suffered long hours and a lot of commuting back and forth from Los Angeles. And a lot of nights they went, or a lot of Monday mornings they went to school pretty tired, but they liked coming out here. The fair board has been great to us. They basically said, we'll leave you alone, do what you want. We won't give you any money, but you can do what you want. The fair manager, Jay Abbs, who's prepared this marvelous dinner tonight, he's here someplace. All of our officials. I think one comment I've heard from more racers that has been very gratifying is that we have a nice set of officials who don't abuse the racers and call them names. And most of those guys come in, guys and ladies, excuse me, come in from long distances as well and work for probably not a fraction of what they would get in the real world. And I really appreciate their help. The sponsors, we've had a couple this year. We're starting out with a new sponsorship campaign for next year. The Flying J Motel has signed on to be our official host again for '93. And Pizza Hut, with their $100 a race giveaways, has signed on for '93. And of course, none of this could have happened without the racers, the crew members, and the fans, and everybody that's here tonight. I want to thank you very much for making the first year a success, and we're going to do a lot better next year. Tonight we're going to distribute $11,100 in points fund money, which may not be much by Winston Cup standards, but I don't think there's any Winston Cup drivers here? Somebody told me Dale was going to make it. He had a tough year. He's going to run here next year, but maybe it's just a rumor. And the division champions are also going to get free concrete slabs for next year. We'd like to pave the whole pit one of these days, and money permitting, someday we will. Until then, the champs will have slabs. So if anybody's not coming to our rules meeting tonight, any of you 5 division champs, let us know where you want your slab for next season before you leave tonight. We are having a rules meeting upstairs over here at 10:30 tomorrow morning. Kind of give everybody a chance to give us a little input on what you want us to do with the rules next year. Not guaranteeing we'll do anything that's suggested, but we will listen. As it looks now, I'll just run through this real quick for next year. The sportsman division, we're going to adopt basically NASCAR rules. Try to find a fine line between Cajon, Orange Show, and Vegas rules so everybody can run competitively. Street stocks, the 100-lap race was successful and there was very little grumbling, so we'll probably go with something pretty close to those rules. The pony stocks, it looks like Cajon rules with Orange Show tires. And on the bombers, which we may call something else because I think our division champ doesn't like the designation bombers. Where's Steve? What should we call the division, Steve? Hobby stocks, okay? Okay, we'll worry about that tomorrow. Basically, we just want to change the weight on those cars, where the short wheelbase cars like the Camaros are penalized a little bit so they don't outrun those big tanks like they've been doing all season. We try to keep it on a par with Chuck Morris's car. The new season, we're going to run an open practice. These are tentative dates, but they've been cleared with the fair board. February 20th and 21st, we'll kind of get a jump on the other tracks. And Friday night, February 26th, and we'll open the new point season on Saturday, 27th of February. Hope to see everybody here and bring 20 friends. We're definitely going to run the 100-lap street stock race again next year, except we'll do it as the final event of the year, so some of our guys that are up in the points don't choose to miss that race. If any other divisions have a car count that warrants it, we would love to run some 100-lap races in the other divisions. I don't know if anybody's ever run a 100-lap pony stock race. I'd love to see it. Might have to do 2 fuel stops. We've managed to coordinate our schedule with Las Vegas Speedway for next season, where out of 20 dates, there are only 4 that conflict. Mr. Zoll is nodding semi-happily. We just today finalized the deal for the grass on the infield, so it will become a reality. The sprinklers are going to be put in sometime this month, and hopefully by February grass will grow. I don't know if it grows out here in the desert in the winter, we'll find out. And that's about all I've got to say. It's as short as the pit meeting. Blue flag, move high. Black flag, you're out, etc., etc. And again, thanks everybody for the support we've had all year. We really appreciate it. And thanks for coming out here tonight. This is a long way to come for dinner. We appreciate it.
Ladies and gentlemen, one more time for Al Blum. Don't go away, Al. Let me introduce Miss Christy Siegel, Miss Blythe, California. How about a round of applause for Christy Siegel? Christy will be helping us with some of our awards tonight. Her feet are tired. She's been in the big parade. Were you on the float tonight? On the float tonight. They had a big parade through the middle of town. And now Christy's with us to help us hand out some of the awards tonight. Before we get into the major awards that you're all here for, we thought you might like to meet some of the people who have helped run this speedway this past season. The people that some of you know, but not all of you know. We've got some special awards for them as well, as Al sachets over to the award box, as we say. We have a lot of great people here working at the Speedway. I've never worked with a crew of people that have worked together as well as the gang that Al managed to assemble this year. I don't know how he did it or where he found them, because they, like you, came from all over the state of California and from Arizona. A lot of begging and groveling, yes, I know, indeed. And they work real well together. The thing that amazes me in the announcer's booth, and how many just plain race fans do we have here tonight? We've got a lot of people who just sit in the grandstand on Saturday nights, and bless your hearts for coming out here tonight. And you're probably, give them a round of applause, because they're what keep this place open. And what amazes me is that sitting up there in the announcer's booth, and we have a PA in the pits, but only I can talk to the pits. The person in the pits can't talk to the pits, does it? But somehow this gang manages to get the cars ready for the next race. We run a race, boom, here come the cars out for the next race. We run a race, boom, here come the cars out for the next race. They do it because they know what they're doing, and you people cooperate with them. So from all of us who work at the track, a tip of the hat to all of the drivers at the Speedway, because you made our job a lot easier than it should have been this past season. So thank you from the bottom of our hearts to the drivers who got those cars out on time. I think you'll hand him out, Al, or maybe Christy can hand him out, I don't know. You met Al Blums, the promoter, Bridget, the shy one over there, sitting at the table, who wants very little recognition, if any. But she's the lady behind this speedway, and she helps run this thing. In fact, if anything happens to Al, I don't think we'll have any trouble running the track, because Bridget really knows what's going on. She helps sign in the cars on Saturday night. Yeah, let's face it, men. Let's face it, we got a woman that knows her stuff. She signs in the cars, and I think she does the books, and she manages things, and she keeps things on the up and up. So, Bridget, thank you very much from all of us for the great job that you have done. We had kind of a godsend. I classified that this year when we needed a starter. Everybody wants to be a starter, but don't do it, because it's the most thankless job. Don't ever be a starter, and don't be a scorer at a speedway, because no matter what you do, it's wrong. You can't please all of the people all of the time. The toughest job on the speedway is on the starter's platform. And we are so lucky to have an excellent starter here at our speedway. He's not only a fine starter, he's the fire chief in this city. We'd like to recognize right now, if you come up to the podium, Mr. Ray Pease, your starter. While Ray's coming up here, we'd like to also acknowledge Jeff Bonet, the assistant starter, who's not with us tonight, Butch Hall, who helped out as well tonight. And here is your plaque, and a great big thank you to Ray Pease, the starter at the Speedway this year. And where's our photographer? Some of these guys may want a picture up here too. Larry and Rhonda, the right touch.
Oh, they did over here?
Oh, there she is. Look, she's sitting down on the job. Rhonda Wright, ladies and gentlemen, our official track photographer.